We just wanted to pop you over to this briefing by the National Police Commissioner, Fannie Masemola, who's currently providing an update on countrywide operations aimed at fighting crime. He's speaking in Kempton Park. Let's listen in.
As well as intercepting criminals, we yielded quite a number of positive results. Recent takedowns and arrest of gangs and syndicates that are terrorizing our communities doesn't demonstrate the commitment and dedication of our men and women in blue. We relentlessly refuse to be won over. It is quite evident with the recent successes that our men and women in blue are tightening the grip on serious and violent crime, thus putting our step ahead of criminals. Ladies and gentlemen, we have gathered here this morning to take stock, as I said earlier, as to what we have achieved in terms of the multidisciplinary teams that we have deployed across the length and breadth of the Republic. We have not declared war, but we find the war on, and we are determined to protect the inhabitants of this country and make sure that we secure the borders and including inside in the country. It is no secret that our men and women in blue are up against heavily armed criminals who have no regard for the rule of law, neither for the society nor the law enforcement. Criminals that we are facing daily are armed with various caliber of firearms, and they often shoot at our members very quick. In enhancing police visibility, which is the core of our priorities on the agenda, there is constantly a need to make sure that we are deploying in all hotspot areas. Our ears remain on the ground, and we are well aware that our communities want to see more police on the ground. It is encouraging to know that in enhancing the capacity, it remains another key priority. That is why we have recruited another 20,000 more police in this 2 years coming, that is current year and the year that is coming. All these members have been capacitated to our police stations and specialized units, of course, including your crime intelligence detectives, your POP. Currently, we have 4,500 that are currently in the colleges. The remaining 5,500 recruits will commence their training in January 2025. Through collaboration with the stakeholders in the fight against crime, which includes various government departments and entities, it is our collaboration with private security industry, which it is our eyes and ears on the ground. You'll recall we started this project a couple of years ago, where we jointly work with the private security companies, where when they see something, they have got liaison with the local police with a project, we call it E2. We do recognize that the gun violence in the country remains a concern, and that is why our day-to-day operation focus on taking out firearms from communities, from criminals. For the South African Police Service, there is no higher priority than the protection of life and safety of our communities, to make sure that we fight serious and violent crime. We hear communities' voices and share their concern on the experiences that they go through in violent crime. That is why through Operation Chanela, we have taken the proactive steps to combat this violence head-on with our partners within the JCPS cluster, while we are constantly researching and benchmarking effective other strategies to fight this scourge, our members remain resolute in removing those dangerous weapons from our streets. It is, however, encouraging to report that the SAPS has been able to destroy more than 250,000 firearms that we are sure that they are permanently out from the streets. And of course, these firearms, before we destroy them, they go through various processes in terms of your ballistic and judicial processes. With regard to Operation Chanela, we are happy to announce that we have surpassed the 700,000 mark in terms of arrests countrywide, and that includes 161,752 wanted suspects for priority crimes, that is including your violent crime, that is murder, cash in transit, armed robberies, rape, carjacking, and firearm-related offenses. We also, within the past 2 years, we also confiscated 20,000 firearms that have been seized. A lot of them, of course, were from gang-related violence in the Western Cape, where 3,100 firearms have been confiscated, while in Gauteng, 673 firearms were seized. 106 of these firearms were confiscated in the week of 22 July to 28 July. So in 7 days, 106 firearms were confiscated. With regard to takedowns on serious and violent crime, including your CIT, we have established teams that are all over in the country, and one of the priority provinces is the Eastern Cape, where we have seen a number of cash in transit highs increasing in that province. Hence, in the latest incidents in the Eastern Cape, 5 suspects linked to a cash in transit that happened Monday this week. After they committed the robbery, they went at Kiskamahoek in the Eastern Cape. They went to a hideout house within the local area there. And when police officers approached the hideout house where they were, they attacked the police with firearms. A shootout ensued, and eventually 5 suspects were fatally wounded. And thereafter we confiscated monies that were from the CIT. 8 rifles were found at the scene at the house, of which 3 of the rifles are AK-47s and the others are R5 rifles. The owner of the house was arrested. He didn't pose any resistance when he was arrested. And on the same day, there was some of the criminals that ran away from the very same crime scene through a Porsche Cayenne with a Gauteng registration plates. This vehicle was intercepted, and 3 more people were arrested. They never resisted, they were arrested, and more money was found at this vehicle on its way to Credo. They appeared this morning at the Credo Magistrate Court. And also in another CIT still in the Eastern Cape, in the Mthatha area, there was also a takedown in that regard, where the CIT happened on the 8th, and 5 suspects were arrested, and 3 rifles, of which 2 of these rifles were 2 AK-47, were confiscated. With regard to ATM bombings, which it is a problem in most of the provinces, especially Gauteng and Mpumalanga, we have registered also a breakthrough in this regard, where 8 suspects were arrested, some in Katlehong, Thokoza and Soweto, and 2 of these suspects that committed this ATM in Gauteng, we arrested them in Senegal in the Free State, and they were brought back to this country. These suspects are linked to more than 20 ATM bombings that took place in Gauteng. With regard to business robberies, in terms of there is 44 suspects which were arrested also in Gauteng, around Captain Park here, who were involved in the armed robbery where they were robbing a warehouse of liquor worth 15 million. They were loading it into different trucks. So 44 suspects in total were arrested for that. In terms of takedown operations in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, there's been a number of suspects and where they were taken down in that province in various areas in KwaZulu-Natal. This Tuesday evening, our members were tracing suspects who were linked and wanted in at least 13 cases of business robberies, carjacking, and these people were traced to Katomena within the eThekwini municipality, and a gunfire ensued. 5 suspects were fatally wounded, and luckily, at least, there is no police officer that was injured in that regard. Also in KZN, 9 suspects were killed in various incidents. All these incidents where police met gunfire, they had to respond and to save their lives, which this happened in various areas, Empangeni, where also ATM bombers were arrested. In terms of drug busts, we had a number of intelligence-led operations where recently, yesterday, there was a drug mule which was arrested at OR Tambo International Airport, coming from Brazil. He's a Brazilian citizen. He has been arrested. He will appear in court here in Captain Park soon. In the last 2 weeks, a clandestine lab worth 2 billion was shut down in Groblersdal. You are aware of this, where 2 Mexicans were arrested. A total of 5 suspects were arrested there. And of course, in the past 2 weeks, you remember in Stelbaai, 252 million worth of cocaine was confiscated, and 2 suspects were arrested, of which one was a Russian national. And also in Magaliesburg, here in this province of Gauteng, 40 million worth of dagga was also confiscated at a drug lab. So between May and June this year, 4 million worth of dagga was confiscated, and also the 4 million worth of cocaine. Just last night, there was over 300 million crystal meth confiscated with arrests at 4 ways here in Gauteng, where 8 suspects were arrested that are linked to this drug bust, which is also linked to a kidnapping. And also in Northern Cape, there was a drug lab found, which we confiscated dagga. Also yesterday in South Gauteng, there was a drug lab where we found dagga that was being planted within the premises. So through Operation Chanela, 21,161 criminals were arrested for dealing in drugs. 64,351 were arrested for possession. In terms of kidnapping, as far as kidnapping is concerned, we have experienced a spike in kidnappings for ransom, and we do have a team, national team, as well as teams in all the provinces, and we have also registered some successes with arrests here in Gauteng, including in Nelson Mandela Bay, where the Hawks rescued a businessman in that area. In total, in the past 2 weeks, 14 suspects, including 3 Chinese nationals, 2 Mozambicans, and 9 South Africans were arrested in various parts of Johannesburg. And also a Zimbabwean businessman was rescued around Soweto. In terms of gang-related, especially in your Western Cape, Eastern Cape, and Gauteng, we have deployed our anti-gang units in those areas, supported by members deployed from Gauteng. The focus areas are your Westbury, Lalagte, Lorado Park here in Gauteng. And during this period, 13 gang members from Western Cape, Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, and Limpopo were convicted to a total collective of 350 years imprisonment. Regarding the matter related to extortion, especially what they termed construction mafia, there is 722 extortionists that has been arrested in the last 5 years. 52 of them were found guilty collectively for 89 years and 7 months imprisonment. 93 cases are still undergoing an investigation with groupings and individuals that have been identified. We are aware that this problem is growing in most of the provinces, and you'll be aware that in Western Cape there's quite a number of gang leaders that were arrested for this extortion related. Your Ralph Stanfield, your Nafis Modak, which they are appearing in court today. With regard to the tavern shooting in the Northwest province, where we lost 8 people, through our investigation we have arrested those that were responsible for that shooting, which majority Lesotho national. 8 people were arrested, and the operation that is focusing on illicit mining, which we call Operation Valumkodi, is continuing between South African Police Service, the SADF, as well as the Home Affairs, Department of Minerals and Energy. More than 375,000 operation has been conducted since December, and we still continuing. 9,297 suspects have been arrested for various offenses, including be it possession, dealing in all various minerals, and 233 firearms and over 5,000 rounds of ammunition were confiscated in this mining-related area. More than 50 big machines that are used in mining have been confiscated. In terms of the Blue Light Gang, which is mostly in your Gauteng, affecting various national roads in Gauteng, we also have made breakthrough where we have arrested in total 39 suspects that are linked to the robberies on the highways, linked to gangs that are robbing people using blue lights. In terms of gender-based violence, there is 2,300 persons convicted, and 19,360 were arrested for GBV-related crimes, and we will continue with this. And perpetrators thereof have been sentenced for prison sentence to 296 years, and those that were sentenced for over 20 years is over 296. In terms of the matter of Mpumalanga of the 95 Libyans, we are aware they appeared in court. They are appearing again next week Monday. The investigation is on as to how, of course, they landed in the country, and they are currently being held up in terms of immigration-related offenses, where we are investigating as to how they acquired their visa, but that is subject to court, which we do not want to get in too much until they appear at court. We are concerned, of course, in terms of police killings, when a number of our members are losing their life. We will be paying a tribute to them at the 1st of September coming this year, and will of course be commemorating members that passed on since April last year to 31st of March this current year. We continue to train our members to make sure that when they are confronted by criminals, they are ready to defend themselves. And we have lost members. We do lose members on a quarterly basis. The latest being at Bizana, you'll recall, where one of our members was buried last week. He was attacked while they were approaching a filling station, and they were shot by criminals there, and other members were injured. Some are still in hospital. We will continue doing our work with all other law enforcement agencies, and we are committed to make sure that the safety of our people is guaranteed. We are aware that we have not yet reached the level where we want to be, but there is no going back. We are determined. We will keep on rooting out criminals. We will continue with this work in every corner of the country. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, National Commissioner, for taking us through that official statement, quite detailed, and also delivering it live at Guleni in Kempton Park, part of the ongoing operations led by the Gauteng province. We will then hand over to the members of the Media National Commissioner through you, just for them to pose any questions if there are any. We will do the normal drill of introducing yourself and media house, and then pose the question to the National Commissioner. I'm noting one hand, Griselda. Let's allow you to pose the question to the National Commissioner. Over to you. Thank you very much.
So that's the situation in Kempton Park. Police Commissioner Fannie Masemola giving an update about just a year or so since the establishment of Operation Chanela, saying they've been able to arrest more than 700,000 people, admitting, of course, that they're also up against heavily armed criminals who continue to flout the law without any regard. With issues around the ANC.